safety campus become a safety campus. So that means no bullying, no sexual harassment, and all the regulation here is already what we call it. We've got a ministerial degree on the sexual harassment in the university. And also comfortable campuses become inclusive and also ramah difabel. So that means all the curricula should be supporting become the healthy campus, safety and comfortable campus. The curricula, the pedagogy, and the learning environment must be supporting to become campus yang san. We call the safety, the comfortable, and the healthy campus. The next, I would like the challenges of the 21st century here, based on the World Economic Forum. They are recommended that our student must be what we call it, have as another 16 skill to preparing the graduate to be a more adaptable. So that means we categorized to become 3 here. The first one is about foundational literacy. So that means our student must have another skill for the foundational literacy. So this purpose of this, so that means how student can apply core skill to everybody task. So that means they have to have another skill about the literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, ICT literacy, financial literacy, cultural and civic literacy. This is the foundational literacy that student must have it. We know that every task, everyday task is very, very hard for our student if they do not have the foundational literacy. The second one is about competency itself. How students can approach the complex challenges. They have to gain the critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, as well as collaboration. And the last one is about the character. Besides, they've got the foundational literacies, they got the competency, they must also have the character qualities. How students approach the changes of improvement environment that very, very fast. So that means we encouraging students can have the curiosity, the initiative, the persistent, adaptability, leadership, social and cultural awareness. And also, we adopted lifelong learning. So that means learning is never ending. Yeah. So that means the student must always gain the knowledge, always study and implement the lifelong learning. So in this case, and then based on that requirement, based on the challenges on the 21st century, so we launching the new policy. So that means emancipated learning, unbundling higher education system we call Campus Merdeka. So that means the freedom must choose multiple pathway to develop the competency. So that means the student can what we call it, achieve what they want, what they dream, to get the flexible learning. So informed self-directed learning. So a professor here as a co-pilot in the learning journey. So that means give a multi-pathway, the flexible learning for our student. So they can take another subject outside their study program and also give a chance to students to get experimental outside of the campus with the 9 activities. The 9 activities here that we can provide, students can choose whether they can choose student exchange for 1 semester, for example, internship program, teaching assistant, research, and then humanitarian project, entrepreneurial activity, independent project, or community service program. So students have freely to choose our 9 activities type in the emancipated learning activities. One, they got the one here, they can full 1 semester and got 20 credit, depend on how long they took this and how many hours the activities every week, and then we can convert to the credit point. So this is the emancipated or experimental learning program in our policy, that independent study, micro-credential. So that means with the global digital technology player and micro-credential provider, we've got a digital talent pool on artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, machine learning, deep learning. Yeah, we also have the Sekolah Ekspor with the Kadin, marketing and project management. Village and rural area development, for example, we also have a chance our student to choose the community empowerment as a student or campus project. Industrial intensive, we also have the 1 semester full for the credit industrial or workplace intensive for the student. Student exchange, for example, we've got the Permata Bhinneka, Permata ASEAN, as well as Permata Dunia. Yeah. And now we've got Pertukaran Mahasiswa Merdeka. We also have the exchange with what we call it, with the top 300, 100 university in the world. We call ISMA, Indonesia International Student Mobility Award. So that means we are very active with our program now. We also have entrepreneurship, innovation project, business incubation, innovation hub, science, and also techno park. We also provided the funding. We call Hexa Helix Synergy. Yeah, we have a performance incentive on the key performance indicator. University also we targeted. We have make a commitment that the university have the 8 key performance indicator. One, they achieve the performance indicator, they got the top-up funding from our government. Yeah. So why we've got a call matching fund for the industry partnership. We also launching the competitive fund for the Campus Merdeka, transforming the study program 4.0, and we've got the 9 activities program. So this flowchart here showing that down and upstreaming market demand between the industry, between the government, and we call a scaling up here program. So industrial and also education learning method. And this is the educational digitalization. We also give the devices through the school and campus digitalization, around 3 to up to 5 million laptops per year for students for free. And also, we also about 200 senior high school vocational as assembly based for laptop. And then the research is supported by consortium of 10 universities and development of the hardware, component, electronic, and peripheral, are also software industry. We also have national education network and also broadband access to the school and campuses. For example, we have a 4G to 5G broadband access for 380,000 schools. So this is our higher education policy in the society 5.0 as a quality of education. And this is some more slide. We also have the Indonesian MOOCs currently, Indonesian Massive Open Online Courses. We call SPADA, a Sistem Pembelajaran Daring. So that means here is the Indonesian MOOCs, Indonesian Online Learning System. This is the Indonesian Higher Education LMS aggregator, providing the open courses, providing the open content, and also providing the online courses. So we optimize this pada Indonesia during the pandemic COVID-19. And the Spada Dikti here, we've got two Spada, Spada Indonesia and Spada Dikti. Spada Dikti is a platform, manages the National Mixed Teaching Forum and the Directorate General of Higher Education to facilitate the implementation and management of various online or offline learning activities for the Merdeka Belajar Kampus Merdeka program. We also recently launching the ICE Institute, Indonesian Cyber Education Institute. This is a marketplace. They only display the all learning material that student can access anytime, anyway, can access through the online courses marketplace, and they got micro credential or digital badges and certificate of accomplishment per online course. So that means we got the SWADA, we got the ICE Institute for the online learning. And this is the last slide, I think, of the investment and collaboration opportunity. We get here, our program is welcome, encouraging the university to become welcome world-class university. We also encouraging for the joint research and publication, internship in the industry, micro-credential, curricular development, scholarship, university consortium. We also encouraging for that, and also online learning development during and post-COVID through the SPADA and ICE Institute, and also we've got the student and staff exchange, such as ISMA, Indonesian International Student Mobility Award, and also sabbatical leave for our professor. I think all that I can share our new policy with the higher education institution currently. So thank you so much for your attention. And now I give back to Ibu Intan for moderator. Thank you so much for kind attention.
Thank you very much, Prof. Aris Junaidi, for your insightful presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the question and answer session. So I will take the question from the chat box. Okay, there are some questions, but those have already answered by Dr. Nurzaidi. Okay, another question here is delivered to Bob. Okay, the question is from Erna Agustina Yudianti to Professor Bob Fengsler. Can you explain what underlies the use of mindfulness to interfere in mental fatigue in soccer players? And then what variables are controlled to see the effect of the mindfulness intervention, such as the specific illness or health condition and mental condition of respondent?
Okay, so thank you for the question. Actually, I have partly answered your question in the chat box. So I think that there underlies or mechanisms behind the use of mindfulness to the mental fatigue. It still needs some further investigations. So it may be related to the emotional control, or may be related to the activation of the anterior cingulate cortex of our brain. However, in our second study, so we actually did not observe or consistently with the hemodynamic response of the prefrontal area of our brain. So I believe that this the potential mechanisms still need to further research to explore it. For the second point about the variables are controls, actually in our study, because we only recruited the college soccer players, did not include the participants with illness or other different kinds of participants. We only used the simple questionnaires to evaluate their mental fatigue status. So I hope that I have answered your questions.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Bob. Okay, hopefully your questions, Bu Erna, will be answered by Bob here. Okay, another question for you, Bob, from Fajar Aji Wibowo. Can you explain what underlies the use of mindfulness? Oh, sorry. You have answered that. If I'm not...
Yeah, I think it's the same question.
Thank you so much. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. I think there is no more question for you. Okay. Maybe there's another question from other speakers for Prof. Aris Junaidi or for Dr. Nurzaidi, if there is any. Okay. I think all have been answered by the speakers. Okay, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we still have 5 minutes left for you to ask a question for those 3 outstanding speakers here. You may raise your hand or you can write on the chat box. Okay. I think there is no more question for you, all the speakers. I think they have got their very insightful presentation from you, and it's that kind of crystal clear for the audience here. Yeah, okay. Because we are getting close to the end of the time together, thank you for our outstanding speakers today and also all the ISET attendants. We really do appreciate your interest in this very important issue, and you may give a big hand of applause emoticon for those 3 outstanding speakers. Thank you. Okay, I will give the time back to the Master of Ceremony. Please, Ms. Kirindra Putri. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you very much, speakers. And now is the time for us to present token of appreciations for the invited speakers. The first token of appreciation is for Assistant Professor Bob Hong Chua Sun from the Educational University of Hong Kong. Please accept our token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Prof.
Thank you very much.
And the next token of appreciation is given to Professor Dr. Nurzaidi Haji Muhammad Daud from University Technology Merak, Malaysia. Please accept our token of appreciation. Thank you very much, Professor. And now the last one is for Professor Dr. Aris Junaidi, PhD from Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology. Please accept our token of appreciation.
Thank you so much for the certificate and for the appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Aris. We really hope we can see directly in another occasion. Thank you very much. And also, please, ladies and gentlemen, and the audience, give a virtual applause for all speakers that we had today. And now, after the end of the second plenary sessions, we would like to proceed to the parallel sessions after the break. So, ladies and gentlemen, please have your break and then also prepare your parallel sessions, because after the break, we will get to the parallel sessions immediately. Before the parallel sessions, I would like to read some ground rules for the parallel sessions that you will have shortly. The first is that for all participants to mute the microphone during the webinar or during the parallel sessions. And also your time for presentations is for maximum 7 minutes for parallel sessions. And when you enter your link for the parallel sessions, please name your Zoom account with the format name underscore city underscore institutions. During the sessions, participants can address questions by using the chat box, by using format name underscore city underscore institutions and underscore questions. One best presenters will be selected from the virtual room, so please give your best performance, and certificate will be sent 1 week after the event, the latest through your email. So, ladies and gentlemen, the link for the parallel sessions has been sent to your WhatsApp group account. So please check your WhatsApp group for the Zoom link to be used for the parallel sessions. As this link is only for use of a plenary session, so we will close this link shortly after we get to the break. So thank you very much once again for your participations and also for the insightful discussions that we have today. And we hope to see you soon after the break in the breakout room for the parallel sessions. Thank you very much once again. Good afternoon, and we'll see you again next year, inshallah, with the 8th ISA 2022. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.